I want you to explain to me how much time it takes you to go about putting down $10 million in bets on the Astros.
Well, the first time it took about 4 hours. I had to drive from Houston to the Louisiana border and bet $3 million at Caesar's Palace at 10-1 on the Houston Astros. And that was all done electronically. It took about 30 seconds. And I bet $1 million at WinBets at 12-1 at the same time. That took about 30 seconds. Then I waited a couple of weeks. The Astros went down to 5-1. And I was betting with a company called Betfred in Iowa. And then, of course, with MGM in Las Vegas. And I had to fly to Iowa in the middle of the night after I got off work and bet there with Betfred. And with Unibet, I bet $1 million, both of them, to win $5 million. Then I flew to Las Vegas and got there at 2:30 in the morning at the Bellagio Hotel, which is MGM property. They opened the sports book for me. I bet $4 million there to win $20 million. And then I got on a plane and flew back to Houston. So I got back to Houston about 6:30, time to take a shower and go to work. Other than that, there was nothing to it.
Oh my gosh, it's so crazy that you're flying all over the country to place your sports bets. Do you think if Texas were to legalize sports betting, that you would leave your state still to go betting?
No, I wouldn't leave the state. I've always said that I don't think Texas will legalize sports betting or casino betting during my lifetime, but it could happen. But right now, going to Louisiana is not that much of an imposition. Flying to Iowa, then flying to Las Vegas all night long, that's a little different story.
You know, it's funny that you say that because I understand Governor Abbott has just sort of switched his stance and said that he would embrace betting in Texas. I'm wondering, do you think that a big campaign donation from Nerium Adelson, the widow of the Las Vegas Sands fortune, do you think that she might have had something to do with that?
You'd have to ask Governor Abbott that. All I know is, irregardless of the governor, there's lots of other forces in Texas that make up who we are and what we are. And let's face it, the people in Louisiana and Oklahoma that have those big casinos don't want Texas to have sports gambling or casino gambling because they make such huge revenue off the Texas residents. So it's an interesting dynamic. We'll see what happens. But right now, me going to Louisiana is not a big deal at all. It's fairly easy.
I'm sure that the sports books, the companies that I cover for CNBC, Mack, are appreciative that you don't just favor one or the other. But is it your sense that you have to spread the wealth in order to make $10 million in bets? You got to go to multiple sports books to do that?
Well, Caesar's Palace has always been very, very accommodating to me in taking big bets. Not many of these sports books will take a $3 million bet that'll return $30 million. So kudos to Caesar. They've always been very good to me and take a lot of high action. The other ones, $1 million or $2 million is a considerable bet for them. And it's also a huge bet for me. So spreading it out makes it easier. Plus you can also shop the prices and get the best price.
As I'm out covering casinos and sports betting and gambling, I'm starting to hear a lot of concern about problems for responsible gaming. People not voting on legal sites, people are worried about underage gambling. Can you talk a little bit about how you think about it? And now, because you're probably the country's most famous sports gambler, what your message is to the rest of the nation about responsible gaming.
First of all, I don't believe at all in betting offshore, Costa Rica, or any of those places. I think we need to bet in the United States at legal sports books. Now the sports books are legal in 30 different states. Whatever state you're in, it shouldn't be that difficult to go across the other state and bet legally in their state. So I'm totally for betting legally in the United States. I don't bet illegally. And as far as problem gambling, it's just something that needs to be monitored, like alcohol or many other things. So if one of the things that concerns me is people not knowing what they're doing and betting over their heads. So I bet a lot, but it's all pretty much for business purposes so I can control it. And I also have a high tolerance for risk. If somebody has a high tolerance for risk and good cash flow, you know, bet 10% of your income, I don't have any problem with that. Somebody betting way over their head, that's an issue. And another issue I have is some of these sports books somebody wins 3 or 4 bets in a row and they cut them off, that to me is not good business. They should, if they're willing to take the money from the problem gambler, they should also be willing to take the money from the gambler who wins often. So we got to look at both sides of the coin there.
I also understand you have something that might set you apart from other players out there, and that is a very understanding wife.
I have a great wife. She understands that I don't have a gambling problem. I have a promotions problem. So we're running lots of promotions, and we're running the World Series right now to win the 75 million and pay it back to our great customers who invest in this promotion. Then on to the World Cup, and we'll see what happens there.